Be honest with me for a second. Did this year feel like it went way too fast? Like you blinked sometime in January and now it is somehow almost over already? That feeling is real. It gets a little worse every single year, and it is not just you getting older and tired. There is an actual mechanism behind it, and there is something you can do about it. So, in the next few minutes, I am going to show you the 3 reasons your brain keeps speeding up time, and the 2 simple things you can do, starting tonight, to slow it back down. Now, let me take away the belief that is probably making this worse for you. Almost everyone assumes that time speeding up is just an unavoidable side effect of getting older, like gray hair or a knee that complains when it rains. Something that happens to you that you are stuck with, so you shrug and accept it. You have probably even said it out loud to someone. The years just go faster now. What can you do? It sounds wise and a little resigned, like settled fact. But that belief is mostly wrong, and quietly accepting it is costing you. Here is the proof. The clock has not changed at all. A year is still exactly 365 days, the same as it was when you were 8 years old, and a single summer felt like an entire lifetime. Time itself did not speed up on you. What changed is the way your brain measures it. And the moment you understand how your brain measures time, you stop being a passenger because it turns out you have a real say in how fast it actually feels. So here's the plan, because I do not want you guessing where we are headed. There are 3 forces that speed up your sense of time, and they stack right on top of each other. I am going to walk you through all 3 in a deliberate order, starting with the one you genuinely cannot change, and ending with the one you completely control. For each one, I will tell you exactly what it is doing inside your head, show you what it looks like in your actual life, and warn you about where it quietly bites. And by the end, you will have 2 specific moves to slow the whole thing down. Let's start with the one that is pure, cold math. The first force is proportion. Think about it like this. When you are 5 years old, 1 year is 20% of your entire life. It is an absolutely massive slice of everything you have ever experienced. So of course it feels enormous. It genuinely is enormous, measured against the tiny amount of life you have to compare it to. Now jump forward. When you are 50, that same single year is only 2% of your life. It is a thin sliver pressed against decades of other years. So the exact same 12 months feels dramatically shorter, not because anything about the year changed, but because the ruler you are measuring it with got so much longer. One way to really feel it is this. The year you were 10 felt long because it was a full 10th of everything you had ever known. The year you turned 40 is one of 40, lined up behind you, and your brain quietly files it next to 39 others that looked a lot like it. Same exact year. A 40th of the weight, almost by default. You can feel the small version too in a kid in the back seat asking, "Are we there yet?" 4 minutes into a drive, and genuinely meaning it because to them, 4 minutes is a real chunk of the day they have lived. To you, 4 minutes is nothing. You can lose 4 minutes just deciding what to watch before giving up and scrolling instead. There is something quietly cruel about this whole arrangement when you sit with it. The younger you are, the more time you actually have in front of you, and the slower it feels. The older you get, the more you finally understand how precious the time is and the faster it slips through your fingers. Time hands you all the patience first, back when you have decades to spare, and saves the urgency for later when you do not. Nobody designed it to feel fair, and it does not. Here is the warning on this one, and it is an unusual one. The warning is to not waste a single second fighting it, because you cannot win. This part is just arithmetic. Every year will keep being a smaller fraction of your life, forever, and that is completely fine. Let it go. Because if proportion were the whole story, time would speed up in one smooth, predictable curve. And that is not how it actually feels, is it? Some years crawl and some years vanish, even at the very same age. So there has to be something bigger going on, and it lives in your memory. The second force is novelty, and this is the heavy hitter. Here's the thing your brain does that nobody warns you about. When you look back and judge how long a stretch of time felt, your brain does not count the hours. It cannot, really. What it counts instead is memories. Specifically, how many new, distinct, vivid memories you laid down during that period. A stretch packed with novel experiences feels long when you look back on it. A stretch of pure routine, where every day melted into the one before it, feels short, almost like your brain simply deleted it. Run childhood through that filter and it clicks instantly. Childhood is nothing but firsts. First day of school, first time riding a bike with nobody holding on, first ocean, first crush, first heartbreak, first time you realized your parents were just people making it up as they went too. Your young brain was laying down dense, vivid, brand new memories almost every single day because nearly everything was happening for the very first time. So when you look back, those years are stuffed full of distinct moments, and your brain reads all that richness as a long, slow, generous stretch of time. A psychologist named William James actually described this back in 1890, noticing that as we age, the years grow, in his words, empty of content and seem to collapse. He was right, and it has only gotten more true since, and it compounds, which is the part that really sneaks up on people. Your teens and 20s still come loaded with firsts. First apartment, first real job, first serious relationship, first time living somewhere new and figuring it all out alone. But each decade after that tends to hand you fewer brand new categories of experience, unless you go out and hunt for them on purpose. So the firsts quietly thin out. At the exact moment, the proportion math is already working against you, and the two effects multiply each other. That is why so many people hit their late 30s and feel like somebody grabbed the remote and held down fast forward on their life without ever asking permission. Now, here is the example that should make you a little uncomfortable, because you have lived it. Think about the last time you traveled somewhere brand new for a week, a different city, a place where you did not know the streets or the language. That 1 week, looking back, feels huge, like it lasted forever in the best possible way, because it was packed with new sights and new food and a dozen tiny new problems to solve every day. Now think about last week, an ordinary week at home. Can you even account for it? 7 days, the exact same length as the trip, and most of it has already dissolved into nothing. I felt this hard when I moved to DC. That first year in a new city felt enormous, in the best way. All new streets and getting hopelessly lost and building a whole life from scratch. By year 3, everything was familiar. The routine had set in, and that entire year just evaporated. Same length, same calendar. The only real difference was how much of it was new. You see the exact same thing inside a single job. The first few months had anything new or vivid. Every meeting and name and small humiliation burned and sharp. Then you learn the ropes, the days smooth out, and whole quarters start blending into one long, indistinct Tuesday. People will tell you a job felt like it lasted 10 years, and also like it was over in a weekend. And both are somehow true, because the front of it was full of firsts and the rest was routine. Their brain barely bothered to save. And here's the warning, and it is sneaky, so stay with me. Routine is comfortable, it is efficient. As you get older, you naturally build a smooth, predictable life with reliable habits, and a lot of that is genuinely good. But the very smoothness that makes your life easier is exactly what makes it forgettable. Your brain is basically a novelty detector, and a frictionless, predictable life gives it almost nothing to flag and save. You spent years optimizing your days for comfort and accidentally optimized them for disappearing. So if novelty is what makes time feel full and slow, the slow draining of it is what makes time feel empty and fast. But there is one more layer, and it is the one you can change the fastest, because it is happening right now while you watch this. The third force is attention, where you are actually pointing your mind while the time passes. There are two completely different kinds of time happening here, and they are sneaky opposites. There is time in the moment, and there is time in memory. In the moment, a boring afternoon where you keep checking the clock drags on forever. But look back on that same afternoon a month later, and it is gone, compressed into nothing, because nothing memorable happened in it. Now flip it. A great night with people you love flies by in the moment, but in memory it expands and feels full and rich, precisely because you were actually present for it. There is even a dramatic version that proves the point. People in a sudden car accident often describe it in slow motion, like a single second stretched out forever. Their brain did not actually speed up. It just snapped into total high alert, and recorded everything at enormous density, and a memory that packed feels long when you replay it. Fear is just novelty and attention cranked all the way to the maximum. This also finally explains that old line, time flies when you are having fun, which always sounded backwards because fun is the thing you actually want to last. But it makes sense now. When you are completely absorbed in something you love, you stop watching the clock entirely. So in the moment, it races by. And because you were so present for it, your brain saves it in rich, full detail. So in memory, it stretches right back out and feels long. Fun does not waste your time. It is some of the only time you genuinely get to keep. Boredom is the real waste. It crawls by while it is happening and then leaves nothing behind to show for it. The example here is almost too relatable, and I catch myself in it constantly. Think about how many meals this week you ate while staring at a screen, not tasting a single bite. How many drives you genuinely do not remember taking. How many conversations you were only halfway inside of, the other half already on your phone. Each one of those is a small piece of your life that passed straight through you without ever registering, not because you were too busy, but because you were not actually there for it. I had a stretch like this last winter where, looking back, I could barely tell you what happened for 2 whole months. Nothing was wrong. Work was fine. Life was fine. It was just on rails. Same days, had half in my phone, nothing new and nothing fully noticed. 2 months of my one and only life, and my brain saved almost none of it. That was the thing that actually scared me into paying attention again. And paying attention is not some mystical skill, by the way, in case that word makes you tense up. It is just choosing, in one small moment, to actually be in it instead of somewhere else. The first sip of coffee while looking out a window instead of down at a screen. A real 5-minute conversation where you're not also half composing your reply in your head. A walk where you actually see the street you are on. These sound almost too small to matter, but they are the exact units your brain decides to keep. A day built out of attended moments is a day you get to keep. A day built out of half-present ones quietly disappears, no matter how busy and full it felt while it was happening. And here's the warning, the heaviest one of the 3. The real thief of your time is not age, it is autopilot. When you move through your days only half present, time robs you on both ends at once. It feels fast in the moment because you are barely tracking it, and it feels short in memory because you never really recorded it. You can lose entire years this way, wide awake the whole time, and never notice they are gone until you look back and find the shelf empty. So let me pull all 3 together, because the way to slow time down has been hiding inside them this whole time. You learn that time speeds up for 3 stacked reasons. Proportion, where each year is a smaller slice of your life, and that one you simply cannot change, so release it. Novelty, where your brain measures time by how many new memories you actually made. And attention, where being present stretches a moment and autopilot quietly erases it. And here's the real takeaway, the thing I genuinely want you to keep. Time speeding up is not really about aging at all. It is about your life getting repetitive and your attention getting thin and divided. Both of those are things you have a direct say in. You are not a passenger here. You are quietly voting every single day on how fast your one life feels. So here are your 2 moves, and neither one is expensive or dramatic. First, feed your brain novelty on purpose. Take the different route home for no reason. Say yes to the thing that scares you a little. Learn something genuinely hard. Go somewhere you have never been, even a small somewhere, because new experiences are exactly what your brain bothers to save in vivid detail. Second, and you can start this one tonight, do one completely ordinary thing with your full attention. Eat dinner without a screen anywhere near you and actually taste it. Take a 10-minute walk and leave the headphones at home. Just listening to wherever you happen to be. It will feel almost uncomfortably slow, and that slowness is the entire point. That is simply what a fully lived minute feels like, and odds are you have not given yourself one in quite a while. You can even make it deliberate if you want it to really stick. Some of the people I know whose years feel the fullest do a quiet version of the same trick. At the end of each week, they jot down anything that was actually new or worth remembering, which gently pressures them to make sure there was something worth writing down in the first place. One different route, one new place, one unplanned yes a week. None of it is dramatic. It is just a stubborn little refusal to let every week become an exact copy of the one before it. And over a year, that is the whole difference between a blur you cannot account for and a life you can actually remember living. Because the summers of your childhood did not feel endless because you were young. They felt endless because everything in them was new, and you were paying total, undivided attention to all of it. And the genuinely wild part is that you can still get a real piece of that back. At any age, the moment you start filling your time with things worth remembering and actually showing up for them. The clock was never the problem, like it has been honest with you the entire time, ticking at the exact same speed it always has. The only real question was ever how much of each tick you were actually awake for. So tell me down in the comments, because I am genuinely curious. What is a stretch of your life that felt the longest when you look back on it now? I will bet good money it was a time absolutely full of firsts. And if you want to understand more of the quiet machinery running your whole sense of reality, go watch the one on why your brain ambushes you with old memories at 3 in the morning. Same brain, same strange clock, doing its thing while you are not looking. I'll see you over there.